know one of the principles that govern this earth plane or this earth level is that we cannot have anything anything cannot exist except in relation to its opposite. And this gives the balance that is needed here. Could it be that some of our activities will cause an imbalance because the negative and positive are necessary to balance each other, and for things to be, for instance, to have light, you have the negative and positive poles of the wire must be connected to have light, and then if you have two positive cables, well, there will be nothing. So I want to ask if our activities here, which aim at creating a new kind of dynamic consciousness in people, is it creating an imbalance here in accordance with the principle that at this level of life, everything that exists must be in relation to its opposite? So, are we overzealous? Are we disruptors or what?
Well, we're all that and more, aren't we, Charles? We've been through a lot, and so yes, we are. I know we're funny, but this is creation. All of it's okay. You might say it's absolutely okay, but at the same time, we can decide to make better choices, to figure things out, so where it doesn't have to be so hard. So yeah, in the old days, started off. Person dug in the ground, to plant the seed, to grow their food, as an example. Then they invented the hoe or something, or the pick, and then eventually the John Deere tractor, whatever, to make it a little bit easier. But at the same time, with these inventions, especially the piston engine machinery, we have to deal with what we do, and now we have pollution and poisoning and everything else that's going on here with the petroleum industry. As an example, we see how things, look at the United States just in the last 200 to 300 years. Look at how zowie it all of a sudden, here it is, and the world itself. And so, it's interesting, this idea of balance. And so what does that really mean? Does that mean you sit in meditation all day and you hum and you're okay and everything's okay, you're in balance? Is that the whole idea? Actually, the idea of creation is to gain experience, to be able to recognize the isness. That's the whole idea of creation and everything in it. Balance is one idea that's here. That's really all it is, and it's fine. Everything is going to balance itself out anyhow, eventually. But in the meantime, we make choices. But it can go on. Creation will just go on, you might say, forever, and it will. And it's more so than just the yugas that Paul talked about. He just defined these in a particular way, but it'll still just keep going, because creation is a part that's set aside in life for people to experience, and they're continuously doing it. And so if you want to really look at something and figure it out, discover what this balance idea means accordingly, do your research and what have you, and then compare it with the isness. You see? So, you see, those people that referred to the idea of balance, for the most part, they didn't know about the isness. And so Paul used a lot of these things too, because again, he used them as a reference to just set the foundation. But really, balance is about creation. It's about balancing things and calming your mind and being able to focus and whatever. And focus on what? So you can do more magic tricks, or what's the idea? Or you can make more money in your business world, and all of a sudden, oh, you're in balance, and you're focused, and everything's really working good for you. Yeah. Well, as long as the business world is there, but when the business world isn't there, okay, so much for that, right? And so accordingly, so I take everything that I experience, and I've already set myself up for this a long time ago, because I saw the difference. In other words, to be objective with the little self the best I can, and that is take the balance idea and compare it to the isness, because they're two different things. They can be the same, but realistically, there's a difference there. Balance is an idea, and it's an equation that is in cause and effect, like consciousness. But the isness is an aliveness. It's an all aliveness. It becomes more so, doesn't it? So yeah, so a lot of people focus on balance and the clearing the mind and all these things. Fine. I would say have the adventure here, do something, and this is why we're doing the projects, because we see that people need assistance. They could use a real education to wake up and to help them, more so than just the sound good ideas from the establishment and what the authoritarians are putting out there that are really helping to deceive people, etc. So this is the challenge too. I have a real compassion and a real concern here. And I really do take too much on for what I see, what people are going through, because you know why? I've been through it, and it sucks. Really sucks. And especially now, everybody's breathing poison. And I'm amazed we're walking around. I'll say that many, many times. I really am amazed we're still walking around with all the Wi-Fi and the nano and all these things, these creatures that are inside of us and everywhere and in the food. Everything's got plastic and petroleum in it, etc. There's no organic. It's just we like to think in these terms, and we just do the best we can. And so we can have our water machines and whatever, and we have one. But, again, these things are in their own way fallacies. But at least we do something. And this leads up to the real awareness where it's more than just us planting trees, all right? This is just something to, become a part of what people are focusing on, to see if they will wake up and see what we're doing. Well, for the most part, they don't want to. They do, but we'll see. It's always a test, and that is it. We bought a John Ellis water machine, and we've talked to the company, and even Kelsey, I guess, talked to John Ellis and got him to agree to do a radio show. But, a few minutes later, a week or a few days, all of a sudden he said, no, I don't want to do it. Because he probably read the website. You see, it's a little bit too much for him because it's very religious. So, yeah, at what point will people wake up? They talk about the union of the world and everybody getting together, just like that Coke singing commercial, the world is one and whatever and all this stuff. But realistically, it's far from it. And this is really what we're presenting, this oneness, this isness that life is, to where everything is workable and at least make some kind of sense. We're not trying to gain perfection here and get things in perfect balance. That's not the idea. Some days are sunny and some days you got rain and a storm. I think it's great. Some people just think, oh, gee, it's not a good day. It's a miserable day. It's raining. Well, gee, you need the rain. I love the rain. I like all the elements here. I really do. I like the isness the best, but as long as I'm in creation. So the challenge here for us, for those that step up, is to, this is the focus on the projects and eventually the real universal position. And let's see who shows up and recognizes that, because that's my real focus. And that's why all the real guides and all the true silent ones are here, because they're focused on that too. That becomes number one. So in the meantime, we do these funny things, Charles, and the balance idea. That's a good one, but that is not the ultimate. Like the God idea is not the ultimate. It's something that basically occurs, is constantly occurring. So when something's destroyed, it it will constantly move towards that position where it balances itself out to where whatever it is, you see. But as us, as so-called conscious individuals, we make that choice. Now we're conscious of making the choices. You see, that becomes the difference. So it's not so much about diet and health and balance and all these things. It's about awareness, even though the little self sometimes is a little bit funny, you know. Again, I'm not always in premium health. I'm tired lots of times because of what I take on. And plus, this place is heavy with Wi-Fi and all the other nonsense that's going on here. So it's a heavy consciousness. Yes, go, Charles, go.
Okay, Duane, thank you for that answer. It is said that the time period, the time frame in which one is born, militates for against certain things in his life. For instance, it's said that those born in March become very high spiritual beings, and others become good at business or scientists and all the like. Some become let me say, very much interested in things of the real side, while some are just earthbound, depending on the time, the constellations at the time you were born. So this certainly ties to astrology. So what do you say about your own self, about yourself, and how can you put this in the context of the isness and the free light of being that we are, coming back to this world at a certain time, in a certain month, in a certain year, and all that. Yeah, this is somehow numerology or something like that. But I would like you to expatiate a bit on this.
Okay, you started off with this idea of becoming high spiritual beings. Does this play along the lines of what you're saying, where the individual becomes born into a certain time frame?
You can become a highly spiritual being. Some can become maybe very scientifically inclined. Some, even if they are not, some are good in various professions, in various things. And I know there is past life, there's past life influences, but it is said that born under certain signs, born under in a certain time frame, predisposes one to certain things. So I don't know how you find this.
Well, again, that's the question: is how do we find it? So again, I wrote this down here because you say it many times. It's kind of fun. It is said. Okay, the old saying, "It is said." Yes. Okay, it is said. All right, that's a good one, isn't it? I remember Ramesses saying, "So let it be done." It is so, let it be done. It is said, it is decided, so let it be done. And that was Ramesses from the Ten Commandments, Charlton Heston. But I wrote down here, it is said, but is it so? You see. So again, I added a little there to confuse you, Charles. So the high spiritual being and the time frames and whatever, Paul played along with this too, and he took the astrology thing and he expanded upon it. And he called it the Ekvidia, and he created his own positions there from what he saw for that time. Okay, so again, he saw that people were into certain things, so he expanded upon that, and I did the same thing. I extended things out. And I used his books, some of them as references. An example is book 3, The Real Far Country. I took the experiences of the far country, and then I expanded upon them because there was a lot more going on there than what he was telling. And so it was my time to tell my point of view, because I was there also with Rivazar and Paul as we were going through this, because we were to come into this together. But again, it was his time to say for what it was. Didn't want to confuse the issue. Just wanted to keep things focused at that time. But these time frames and all that, they're very interesting. And again, this is where people start getting locked into an ideas, thinking that, life pivots off the ideas that are created in creation. Does that make sense? So in other words, whatever we decide here, life is going to agree. Does that make sense?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
It doesn't.
No.
Because no one is larger than life.
Well, yeah, but the thing is that when you look at what's taking place here, people decide certain things, whatever they decide, and they're expecting life to agree, just like the God idea. They create ideas, and it's like, God does this, and God thinks this way, and Jesus will do this, and whatever, etc. See, they're already deciding what life or others will do. See? And so that's not our position. So when you're referring to this accordingly, no, these are just simply, again, options that people come into. It's no different. It's like the old saying, deal with the hand that you've been dealt with. You see, that's really what it is. And actually, we dealt the hand to ourselves. It wasn't anybody else. We're thinking that, there's a dealer here dealing us the hand. You're thinking of Las Vegas, okay? And that's the God idea again. God created this body and did all this to me. Now I got to deal with it. But I love God. God's cool. And so again, all these ideas, isn't it? So these time frames are the same thing. They're just simply ideas we go through. But the opportunity of anything, of any option, is always our choice every moment. This is what's so cool about it. And the best choice is to recognize the isness, because everything is with the isness. But when the person just makes a choice according to their personal self only, of course you're going to have those choices. Of course you're always going to have them, because as long as the personal self exists. Well, then things are going to be along the lines of the personal self, because you made the choice. And you can think that, life will take care of me and do this or that for me. But again, those are your ideas thinking it so. But unless it is so, it ain't so. And so Harry's up on stage, and many of these other people that copied what Paul did, thinking that, the real guides are here. They're with everybody else. They're backing them. Well, guess what? They're not. They're not at all. They will refer to those people that do make sense of something and are really sincere. Yeah, they see that, and they will try to, demonstrate something to them. But if they're personally locked into ideas, and especially emotional attachments to Harry and the corporation, well, they can't take that away. And so the individual will end up accordingly. So these ideas that we come through the time factor and whatever, it's like me, I was born at 3 a.m. in the morning, March 10th, 1948. Now everybody knows that. Now they can go use my credit cards, whatever. So, these are interesting things accordingly, but what we call history, or what the situation is right now, it's just simply, we're in a created moment. And again, what makes sense? Does it make sense to just continue on with this and do whatever and chase whatever? Well, fine, go do it. But what I've come to realize is that there's this true reality that is what it is. And so as I recognize it, this makes sense to me in comparison with what I am experiencing here. So therefore, the time frames that have taken place no longer mean anything to me. They're just a reference of something to talk about as people step up and need, guiding posts, you might say, yardstick to go by, Paul would say, to get to a certain point to where they can learn to recognize it for themselves. So these are just things we talk about, really. And so they're all kind of funny things. But yeah, we have ID here. We have a driver's license, and it's got a number on it, Social Security, whatever. These things are factors here. We don't need them, but we got them because they have been decided and agreed upon. And so, yes, we're in a funny place. But this, this high spiritual being stuff and all that, again, do these people recognize this isness? Are they standing real with the real guys? Well, most of these people, they've got their own little spiritual communities, and they don't recognize the bigger picture. They're in their la-la land somewhere in the astral or the mental worlds, which is fine. What's so cool about the isness, for myself, I can only speak for myself, I'm not interested in thrills or being happy or all these other things. What I have is so much better than that, but at the same time, sometimes I am happy, or I get a little thrill. I get a good wave out there once in a while, and that becomes my little thrill. And yeah, it's exuberating to the, it's fun to the personal self for that few moments, and like a good meal, it fades off, and then you're hungry again. But that's the personal self. But all these things that we've come to know, I really like my experience now because, I don't see myself as any of these things, high, low, or whatever. I really just like to be thought of as Duane. That's it. And what I'm presenting, this isness that life is, to recognize this and do something at the same time, provide something that makes sense through all of creation and whatever's happening here. I see that as the best experience of all. And so I appreciate you stepping up, and I know it takes a lot of time to put this together, Charles. You've got the challenge here. I would say it's easy for me. I'm cheating. I've got the answers already to whatever you ask, because life provides it, the isness provides. So you got the tough part of trying to figure it out.
Whether there's some kind of, I want to enter into some kind of plea bargain here. For instance, and why so? Because you find many masters and all that, and gurus who have come to this world. I think they were well-intentioned and looking for ways to lift man, to raise man's awareness, to take man back to the kingdom of God. The time for the isness had not yet come, and these people came to this world before as these ancient masters and all that. I don't know where they are caught up now. Now, is there how would life treat them? Because I know they're free beings of light. They could always reincarnate, but some are there settled in the upper regions of the astral world. They've been there for thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years. Is there any way that these guys, these souls who were well-intentioned, can be taken care of and realize the isness? Because they existed they came to this world at a time when it was not yet time for the isness, for the is to be known by the world.
That's a very good question, Charles. And I would say the real question is that what the heck have these guys been doing for thousands of years? and how the hell did they maintain what they have for that long? Okay, so again, I would say that's the real question. And so we'll leave that till next time, won't we, Charles? Until the next episode. That'll be our cliffhanger. How about that?
Okay.
So in the meantime, you can research what the heck have they been doing all this time.
Yeah, really, what the heck have they been doing?
Yeah, what the heck have they been doing for thousands of years and even millions of years and eons? What the heck do they do? What does Harry do between the 2 hours a year that he's on stage? What does he do? Okay. I'm sure he uses the bathroom and eats once in a while, but aside from that, what the heck does he do? Okay, so yeah. So again, it's all funny. Well, you're wonderful, Charles, as always, and it's for everyone. We just want to have fun here and at the same time do something real and step up. I love the challenge, the love affair with life, the heartaches, the whatever, the pain getting up in the morning, what have you. It's all part of the focus, and so. And so now Kelsey and the kids. Kelsey is wonderful, and she's got the new kids together, and they're going to be doing Tree Talk, and we're going to just do more than we've ever done before. So, and you're part of that. Thank you so much, and Miriam always sends the pictures to Ava, and we make a new picture every week. It's wonderful. What a sweetheart she is, and she's right there in the middle of it. So. Let's see what happens, Charles. We'll see you next time.